we really need another retelling of the same old origin of Superman? You better believe we do. Oh, sorry, you probably didn't recognize me. Hey there everyone, it's Rev Kev here. Hope you're having an amazing day today. If you are new to the channel, I would love if you hit that like button, or if you would subscribe to be a regular part of our community. We're talking Star Wars, we're talking movies, TV, and just a lot of geek stuff, and having a great time doing it together. Today I want to jump in and I want to review the new DC Black Label series, Superman Year One by Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. Now first off, I gotta say, when I ordered this from my comic book shop, I was a little surprised when suddenly I got this big, ginormous magazine in my hands. And what surprised me, but I hadn't heard of the DC Black Label series before. I didn't realize they came in such a big, giant edition like this, but love it. Love this big print like this. When did the font in comic books become so small? Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. need no introduction. They are big wigs. They are big names in the comic book industry. They have been around ever since I have been collecting comics since I was a little kid. I remember some of the big one, the big one that made Frank Miller a household name was when he did The Dark Knight Returns. Really set comic books on a different path, a different trajectory than people kind of were expecting from them, especially probably in DC, where DC tended to be a little bit more fantasy-like and a little bit more kiddie-like at the time in the 70s and the 80s compared to Marvel. And so they are kind of jumping into this Superman Year One with a retelling of the origin of Clark Kent and how he becomes Superman. Is it necessary to have another retelling of the origin of Superman? No, it's not necessary. But is it great to do it? Oh my goodness, yes. 100 times yes. You see, compared to any other superhero, I think Superman is the one with the most interesting story to tell in the years when he's growing up. Just take your average, ordinary superhero and think for a moment about their childhood. Let's talk the MCU for a moment. Iron Man, rich kid, really smart, did well in school. Not a lot to tell in that childhood. Captain America, very patriotic, loved his country, but until he gets this, the super soldier serum in him, not much to tell. The Hulk, Bruce Banner, again, smart guy, goes to school, but until he becomes the Hulk, nothing really to tell.
Puny human.
That's what I love about Superman. Superman is kind of the hero of heroes, and there are so many interesting takes that you can take with his childhood and the upbringing that he would have received in small-town USA, Smallville. I mean, for me, what stands out about this issue is definitely the story. Frank Miller's take on young Clark Kent, being in school, starting from, the time when he's a toddler, coming out of the spaceship, until, heading off to school, playing in the field, with his dog. There's just a lot of really great stuff in here. The tensions really mount, of course, with the school bullies. There's a gang of kids, and they're not treating Clark and his buddies really well. And this is where I wanted Clark Kent to go a little, bright burn on these kids, if I could say that. Am I allowed to say that as a pastor, that I kind of want one kid to just beat the snot out of another kid? Maybe it's because I've got some issues that I need to work through with a counselor one day. But high school's tough, and if it wasn't for my buddies and my gang that I hung out with when I was in high school, it would have been brutal, absolutely brutal. And they really captured that story well with Clark and the other kids just being picked on by these bullies, and him having to talk to Ma and Pa Kent on how to deal with this and how to become the man that he's going to become and how he's going to respond to this. And I just thought that part of the story was just handled really, really well. Again, still just wanted to see just a bang deal come in there, but, didn't happen. Herbal tea, calm down. No, I'm not going to calm down. On another note with the whole bullying thing, You know, back in the day when high school, when I was getting bullied, it's because we were into things like the Avengers, and Iron Man, and Captain America, and the Hulk, and the Black Widow, and Superman, and Batman, and we were getting beaten up for it, and now the rest of you are finally into it. We were right, and you finally caught up to us. Herbal tea. Again, John Romita Jr. is no stranger to comic books. Has got a long history of amazing comic books, and his art in here is good. I would have to go back into my old comic book collection. I remembered him being better. Maybe it's just that I've adapted in some of the style art that I like. Kind of just expecting a little bit more kind of out of the artwork from such a big name. Some panels actually even feel a little bit rushed, where there's not a lot of background drawn in, and it's just kind of just these streak lines and things like that. So, but I mean, it's really, really good. Don't get me wrong, the art is excellent. Just with such a big name, I kind of had a little bit of an expectation for a little bit more oomph in the art. So the art is good and the story is good, but where it really gets interesting is in the last couple of pages, where Clark heads off to join the army, which is kind of a new take on Superman. I don't think I've ever seen another version of Clark Kent joining the U.S. military. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that shapes his character and how that helps him become the hero that I'm looking forward to seeing at the end of this series in Superman Year One. So all in all, Superman Year One by Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. is an excellent addition to the history and origin of Superman. Well worth picking up. All in all, I got to give this, out of a 5-star rating, I'm going to give this 4.5 stars. This is really close to a 5-star comic book for me. There's a few panels of art I just would have liked to have been a little bit more, just different. Not wrong, just different. But if you're a fan of any of these guys, or of Superman, or if you hate the Big Blue Boy Scout, I would love to hear what you think. If you read the issue, I'd love to hear what you thought of it. Put that in the comment section below. And as always, thank you for those of you who like and subscribe to the channel. It means the world to me. And until the next video, God bless you, take care, and look forward to talking to you soon.